What a year. Where to begin? What's up, fam? Welcome back to a new video. If this is your first time stopping by, Happy New Year's Eve to you. Guys, we made it. It is officially the last day of the year. Insane. You know, when you're living it, the hours and days seem to move at a snail pace, but man, do the months and years fly by. But we made it. And for that, I am so grateful. This year has been filled with high highs and low moments that you rarely don't get to see on platforms like this because, you know, you're just living your life and going through it. But trust me, I've had my share of sad times, even recently. I am excited for this video though because I get to look back. You know, this is my first year in review on this channel, and I think this is a tradition I'd like to continue. One thing I love about this platform is that it allows me, even if no one else watches, to look back and to reflect and reminisce. I think if I had to sum up this year in one word, it would be self-reflection, which I think is an important aspect for doing the necessary work to grow as a person. I definitely still have a long way to go, but it's nice to look back to see my growth personally and professionally on this platform. And because my memory isn't the greatest, I'll likely be referring to some of the notes that I've jotted down in my iPad, and I'll also be using one of my favorite travel applications called Kayak to help me take a trip down memory lane. No pun intended. Let me preface by saying that this video isn't sponsored. I actually use this app personally and religiously for searching for cheap flights and for bookings, and these are my personal and honest opinions. Aside from bookings, what I also really love about this app is that it tracks and aggregates my trips, so at any given time I can analyze my travel stats, which, you know, is kind of cool to see. Basically, Kayak has kept a diary of my travels and has done all of the research for me, saving me the trouble of having to recall where I was 11 and a half months ago. I wanted to use these final moments before the year end to kind of reflect back on some incredible trips that I had the privilege to take this year, while also reflecting on some moments that I didn't share with you this year on this platform. So let's dive in. Viewers to my channel, first of all, welcome. But just to kind of give you a little bit of background, I actually started this channel back in 2018. At the time, I was living in Bahrain. My husband is military, so we were deployed there for just a little bit over 2 years or so. I wasn't working at that time, and of course, I got the opportunity to really travel a lot. So when I started my channel, I really didn't take it seriously at that time. I wasn't posting consistently, which is the golden rule for YouTube if you want to grow on this channel. And then coming back stateside, the pandemic hit. I went back to working a corporate job, which I still do, and I just largely fell off in terms of dedicating any time or attention to this channel. It wasn't until around March timeframe earlier this year that I decided, you know what? I really love being on this platform. It's a place where I can be creative. It brings me immense joy to be able to share these journeys that I'm going on, even if for an audience of one, you know, typically my husband, my family and close friends. I do love the community of vloggers on this channel. I think it's so cool and inspiring and interesting. So in March is when I started to kind of take this hobby of mine seriously, investing more money, resources, and my time, of course, into this channel, taking it more seriously, and to begin posting more consistently. Traveling is a big part of my life, so even before I picked up the camera back in March, I was always still traveling. And in January was my first trip of the year. I didn't vlog it at all. I traveled to Napa Valley, California, for the first time in that region of California to kind of surprise a very, very dear friend of mine for her baby shower. And we had the absolute best time visiting the vineyard, staying up super late, later than we should have been, laughing, drinking lots and lots of wine. And what I didn't know at the time, but I definitely understand and really appreciate now 12 months later, was that those bonds of friendship with friends that I've seen only sporadically throughout the years would grow so strong this year. Given my latest Christmas blues that I've been experiencing these last few weeks and, you know, spurts of depression here and there, man, am I truly thankful to have those beautiful friendships and for the safe space that it provides me when, you know, I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to, or it just gives me a safe space and a place where I can feel really loved and comfortable. And I, you know, adore those connections, and I'm so happy to have seen them blossom during this period of my life where I feel like I needed them most. Grab a little blanket. It's kind of chilly in my house. All right, and speaking about blossoming, let's move right along into the spring. My birthday's in the spring. March is my birthday month, and for some time now I have been really wanting to visit the beautiful country of the Netherlands, specifically the city of Amsterdam, which, as you may be aware, is the largest exporter of, or the country rather, is the largest explorer of fresh cut flowers in the entire world. Unfortunately, during our visit, we came about 1 or 2 weeks too early for peak bloom, but luckily I live in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area where flowers during this time of the year bloom in abundance. Similar to Netherlands, people from all over the world travel to this area to see the cherry blossoms, of course. And no location is more popular than the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C., which I've been, and as gorgeous as it is so hectic. There are so many tourists that it also, you know, becomes a little bit frustrating. But because I live in Maryland, I had made it my mission to explore more of this incredible state. And there are cherry blossoms all over the DMV. And Baltimore specifically has some really exquisite bloom locations as well. You know, I feel like people really sleep on Baltimore. It's really unfortunate because this city is such a great tourist destination. And if you do not believe me, please check out my YouTube video that I did on this very topic of things to see and to do in Baltimore. It's unfortunate, again, that you hear so many negative things in the media and a lot of what I'm just going to categorize as slander at this point. But I had the absolute best time exploring Baltimore solo, running around the city alone by myself, checking out all of the sites and learning more about the history of this charmed city. summer. This past summer was a lot of fun, but it was not without its hiccups, y'all. I kicked off the summer in my home state, which I don't like to admit anymore that I'm from Florida, but you know, it's my home state. And one thing that it definitely still has going for it is its beaches. Now, I've had the privilege, thankfully, to visit some really incredible coastlines around the world. And believe it or not, Florida still, in my opinion, holds the top spots for some of the best beaches on this planet, no doubt. And one beach trip that was probably even more memorable than that trip to Florida was our trip to Jamaica. Now, Jamaica does have some beautiful beaches, but I don't think that's what made the trip the most memorable in my opinion. So we had the unfortunate timing of arriving in Jamaica 2 days before a Category 5 hurricane was set to make landfall. That was insane. Comment below if you've ever experienced a natural disaster while you're on vacation, because it was chaos. But you know, one thing I do have to give the hotel and the hotel staff credit for was that they were fully prepared for this hurricane. I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida, so I'm no stranger to hurricanes, and I've experienced my fair share, obviously. But one of my biggest concerns was whether the infrastructure of the island and the hotel could withstand such a dangerous storm. Like, these storms kill people, undoubtedly. And everyone's flight was canceled. I recall we had to book at least 2 to 3 nights extra on our trip. Definitely not in our budget. But I have to say, again, the hotel staff did a great job keeping us safe, making us feel safe, keeping us informed. And we were lucky when it was all said and done. There was no major severe damages to the hotel, no injuries to my knowledge, and that's more than I can say for the rest of the island, which I imagine had no power or running water for weeks, if not months. So shout out to the people of Jamaica and the hotel and hotel staff for not only being so welcoming and, you know, showing us a good time, but being so resilient and for keeping us safe during what could have been a really crazy and dangerous experience. Moving into my favorite season, which is the fall. So looking back at my Kayak app, fall was also so much fun. I kicked the season off with a trip to London, one of my favorite cities to visit, which, you know, London isn't really your on-the-nose fall destination, but there is something about the gray days and dreary rain that just screams, you know, Netflix and chill. This was a girls trip, which was so much fun, but I have to say my most memorable trip that I took this fall has to be one that I took with a really good friend of mine to the spooky town of Sleepy Hollow, New York. I met up with one of my best friends and a few of his friends, and y'all, the vibes were vibing. Having just met most of them, you know, for the first time on that trip, our energy was just meshing. It was on point, and we spent the entire day exploring kind of the old town, the spooky cemeteries, learning more about the history, checking out a really beautiful lighthouse. We got to witness one of the most beautiful sunsets over the Hudson River with the mirage of New York City in the distance. It was literally a perfect day. I couldn't ask for anything better. And again, somehow this year, unbeknownst to me, just kind of turned into a big year for investing and for deepening connections with friends of mine who we kind of live all over the place. I've moved several times these last couple of years with my husband being in the military. So you can imagine it's kind of hard to keep those connections with some of your friends strong when you're not living in the same city or you're not really the center of each other's universe anymore. So, but I feel strongly that, you know, you are the company that you keep. Sounds very cliche, but I can say unequivocally that my friends are the shit. They are just some people that I truly, truly, truly admire and look up to. They are kind-hearted and, you know, really want what's best for everyone, especially for those who are most vulnerable among us. Just fucking good people, and I'm so thankful to have them in my life. And I want to include my husband in that category as well, because he is my ultimate ride or die, and I'm super proud really of the bond and the life that we've built together these last 10 years. That's even crazy saying that, it went by so fast, but I have to say, as special as those relationships are with my friends and my husband and my family, of course, no relationship, in my opinion, is more critical than the one that you have with yourself. You know, throughout the years, I've tried to take more solo trips and just spend more quality time with me. If you haven't done a solo trip yourself, what are you waiting for? It is amazing and just such a life-changing experience overall. And I think, you know, time spent with yourself is time well spent. So in November, I did take a solo day trip up to New Haven, Connecticut. Random, I know. But oh my gosh, what an incredible time I had on that trip. First of all, the New England part of the country is just some of the best places to visit during the fall. I cannot get over, you guys, how just immaculately yellow the leaves are during fall in this region. Like the reds are so vibrant, like it really makes my heart flutter. I also got to tour Yale University's campus, which is equally beautiful, and ate some of the best pizza in Connecticut. They may say the country, but you know, differences of opinion. It was really, really good though. It was a great time and I had the most incredible day. And now that brings us to present day, the last day of the year. This winter season was definitely a mixed bag. I'd say it started off pretty rocky. Personally, I fell into a little bit of a depression and just this feeling of hopelessness, like at the start of, before Thanksgiving, the start of the month of November. And again, this video, a lot of it, and a lot of the videos that I post on my channel are a reel of the good times, right? You know, but life is still happening out there, and I hesitate to discuss it much on this video because this YouTube channel is kind of my happy place. And when I travel around, you know, my hope is that you, the viewer, can experience along with me the joy of travel and learning about new cultures and experiencing new places. And it would truly be out of character for me to just walk around the earth sad all the time. You know, it's not really in my personality. And so sometimes it can just be a little bit too much. And I say that knowing full well the fortune and privilege that I have from where I sit. You know, in my mind, tourism and travel are two separate concepts. One is going to go lay on a beach for 4 days in Cancun, sipping on margaritas. And the other is spending your time also visiting like the Mayan pyramids and learning about their culture and the historical significance and importance, not only to the country, but to the world. I enjoy doing both, but personally, I prefer the latter. For me, traveling is enlightening. I view it as a political act. It's about, for me, expanding my worldview and perspective. And like a stretch t-shirt, after you've had some of these experiences, your privileged little life, you know, just doesn't fit the same. You become more aware, more empathetic, and hopefully more compassionate. And sometimes having that empathy and compassion, it becomes really heavy. And too heavy for any one person to carry. And I have to truly remind myself of that. And what I absolutely love the most about travel is no matter how chaotic the world might be, you know, I try to remember and lean on those experiences that the world is still largely a beautiful place filled with beautiful people who just want peace. And the holidays, no matter your geography, really embodies that full and through. And so sometimes you just kind of have to move and get out there and go see for yourself as a reminder that, you know, there really is more that connects us than divides us. And with that, I bid farewell to 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. It truly means so much to me that you would even stick around to the end of this video and watch all of my other adventures on this channel. I do hope that you will, you know, like and subscribe down below as your final act of kindness for 2024. It really helps me to continue building my channel, to hopefully bring more content in the new year. Lastly, I want to shout out my editor who has stuck with me these past few months, keeping me disciplined and structured. You're the best. I really appreciate it. And last but not least, I want to really thank my amazing husband for being so supportive for over a decade and supporting an almost 40-year-old, you know, saying that I want to start a YouTube channel, and just supporting me in every which way, helping me film things, take my photos. Like, I really appreciate it. I don't tell you enough. I love you. Thank you. To the moon and back. I want to send off 2024 with good energy, lots of peace and love to all of you guys, and I really hope to see you in the upcoming new year. Take care, guys. Peace and love to you. Bye.